Alright, let's dive right in. The story kicks off in the city of Jiangju on May 20th. 2024, and a new spatial rift just ripped open the sky above the city. The 3rd Division members charge into battle against the monsters swarming out of it. Leading the pack is the six-eared Wolf King, a gold-level monster who thinks this is all a game. He scoffs at the lowly humans, calling their resistance pathetic and stubborn. Wiping them out, he boasts, is only a matter of time for him. Then he leaps, effortlessly tearing through the human soldiers with his razor-sharp claws. One of the women on the ground realizes the Wolf King is gold level, a much higher threat. But before she can even finish her thought, the beast is on her, claw raised high. And just when you think it's all over for her, bam! Someone comes crashing down right in front of them like a meteor. This new arrival tells the others he'll handle the Wolf King himself. Their only job now is to mop up all the remaining smaller monsters. The soldiers see who it is and breathe a sigh of relief. It's Wu Yuan. They get back to the fight, leaving Wu Yuan to face the Monster King alone. A little while later, the woman reports in. With Wu Yuan's help, the Wolf Clan is officially defeated. The captain praises their incredible effort, looking up at the spatial rift. He notes that it's a new one classified as sea level, and then asks a chilling question. This makes it the 6th rift to appear in just the last 10 years, right? He knows that at this rate, Jiangju will eventually become completely impossible to defend. The captain stands, declaring that the academy can't deal with this crisis alone anymore. He announces that starting this year, superhumans at martial universities will get a major perk. They're now going to be exempt from all the tedious cultural exams. Not only that, but the admission scores for martial artists will be cut in half. Meanwhile, at the academy, let's meet our main character as class is dismissed. A guy with red hair nudges his friend, asking why he was zoning out in class again. He tells him it would be a real shame if he couldn't get into martial university. The friend just fires back that his own cultural scores aren't any better. He asks the redhead if he wasn't sneaking a few peeks somewhere else himself. The friend then sighs, saying he just wishes he could sit next to the beautiful Yanren. The redhead wonders aloud how a guy like Xiao Ba managed to get so lucky. And there she is at the back of the room, Lin Yanren with long orange hair and light blue eyes. As she fixes her books, she asks the guy next to her, Xiao Ba, about his plans. Is he aiming for the regular academy or a martial university? She gently reminds him that graduation is right around the corner. But Xiao Ba just shrugs, saying he's not sure what to do. He explains his grades are too average for the academy anyway. Besides, in a chaotic world like this, what's the point of advanced math? He adds that his family isn't wealthy, so martial university is way too expensive. And to top it all off, he doesn't have any special abilities to speak of. Xiao Ba thinks to himself that he'd been isekai'd into this world from another. But unlike other protagonists, he didn't get a god-tier talent or awaken a system. That's when Yanren leans in and tells him to come with her to the academy. She whispers that she has a way to get him in through the back door. And then, right on cue, trust me, you're not ready for this, a blue panel appears before him. Alright, let's jump in. A panel pops up that only he can see, ordinary beginner, age 18. His stats are pathetic, Constitution 4, Agility 5, and his only trait is Beast Tamer. Yanren reaches for him, her hand passing right through the screen, asking him what's wrong. He's sweating like crazy, and it's then that Subai realizes no one else can see this. He grabs her hand, telling her he's fine, that everything's okay. But this simple act sends the rest of the class into a complete shock. One guy literally starts crying, screaming for him to get his filthy paws off their goddess. He rages that just sitting next to her isn't enough, and throws a punch right at Subai. Shouting that he's about to teach him a lesson, but the teacher steps in just in time. She shuts the fight down instantly, telling everyone to get back to their seats. She then walks to the front with some massive news, and here's where everything changes. Django Martial University just updated their entire admission policy online. Starting this year, superhumans are now exempt from the cultural exams. They can enroll directly, and anyone with a martial artist's foundation. Their cultural score requirements are literally cut in half. The entire classroom explodes into cheers, completely hyped about less schoolwork. Suddenly, everyone thinks they have a shot at getting into martial university. Meanwhile, Yanren and Subai are the only two who are totally calm. The teacher tells any student who's awakened or has a martial foundation to register at her office. This clicks for Xiao Ba and this is his ticket. He just awakened his own abilities. He can get into a martial university without the exams. As this sinks in, Yanran just stares at him, completely confused. She's wondering if he's actually serious about applying to a place like that. Now let's back up. To get this, you need to understand the world he lives in. On September 18, 1906, the sky literally tore open. Massive spatial rifts appeared. Out of them poured hordes of beasts that rampaged across the world, slaughtering humans. Armies from every nation banded together, and after 3 brutal months of fighting, they finally managed to wipe out that first wave of monsters, but there was a catch. As long as those rifts stayed open, more beasts would just keep coming. So humanity did the only thing they could. They sent suicide squads through the rifts. On the other side, they didn't find an end. They found a vast, unending new world. To stop the flood of beasts, armies built bases inside the rifts themselves. This allowed them to fight the monsters at the source, and it marked a brand new era. On March 6, 1907, the second rift opened. On May 7th, the third, then the fourth, then the fifth, it just didn't stop. Over the next 100 years, the number of rifts exploded all across the globe. Each one connected to a different race of beasts, a different kind of hell. Scientists started calling the world beyond the Battlefield of Myriad Races. At the same time, spiritual energy on Earth began to recover, and humans started to change. People gradually awakened martial abilities and incredible new powers. As the war against the beasts dragged on, regular firearms became more and more useless. But the superhumans, they just kept getting stronger. And you and I both know what that means. They became humanity's main force on the battlefield. Xiao Ba is well aware that this brutal war between humans and the myriad races is still raging. Seeing the university's desperate new reforms, he can read between the lines. The war isn't going well. With the world growing more dangerous by the second, Xiao Ba awakens something incredible, his very own system. His one goal, protect his family in this chaotic world, and trust me, he's got a plan. He figures the fastest way to power up is to get into one of the military-backed martial universities. While walking through the city, Xiao Ba gets an idea and stops by a store. He's hyped about his new beast tamer abilities, thinking he can use them to get a powerful ally. With a contracted beast, he could probably just walk into the university, no exams needed. He checks his account, hoping the 2,000 yuan he scraped together will be enough. He asks the system why it hasn't found a beast for him yet, but gets nothing but silence. Inside the store, a saleswoman greets him with a smile, asking how she can help. Xiao Ba proudly announces he's a beast tamer and asks to see what they have available. She points him to a black cat, mentioning that while it's pricey for a normal beast, it has a pure cat bloodline and can easily evolve to the silver level. But when Xiao Ba sees the 3,600 yuan price tag, his jaw just about hits the floor. That's way too expensive, so she shows him a 4-eared dog with a 6-eared wolf bloodline. The price, a staggering 33,000 yuan, and the other beasts only get more expensive. After the grand tour, she asks him which one he likes. But to her shock, Xiao Ba is already gone, vanished without a trace. Walking down the street, Xiao Ba can't stop grumbling about those insane prices. He feels like he's being robbed. Just because they have a drop of monster blood, they cost a fortune. He's frustrated and wonders again why his so-called system isn't helping him find anything. Back home, Xiao Ba slams his bag down, totally defeated. But here's the thing you and I have been waiting for. The system suddenly alerts him. It's found a suitable beast for his beginner package. A small turtle, it asks if he wants to tame it or pass. Shocked that the system is finally working, Xiao Ba sprints over to the aquarium. Could it really mean his father's pet tortoise? He looks at the little guy playing in the water. He's thinking, what kind of newbie gift pack gives you a creature this small? Seriously, this is supposed to be his first tamed beast, but even with his doubts, Xiao Ba decides to go for it. He knows he's not strong enough to go out and tame some monster in the wild right now. He figures he'll just tame this little guy for now and swap it out for something cooler later. The system confirms the taming was successful and pulls up the turtle's stats. It's a small turtle, ordinary beginner level, but it has traces of the Sacred Black Tortoise bloodline. The system explains that this turtle has infinite growth potential. Infinitely growing and destined to slay gods. Now let that sink in for a second. Its current stats are, well, 1 constitution, 3 defense, 1 mentality, and 1 speed. Its main ability is turtle shell defense and its evolution method, just eating, that's it. Reading the description, Subai is a mix of completely baffled and incredibly hyped. He proudly holds the turtle in the air, shouting that this is more like it. He wonders out loud just how much a black tortoise bloodline like this is actually worth. But he's totally clueless that his sister Sushia is standing right behind him, and she is not happy. She yells at him, demanding to know what he's doing to Xiao, reminding him it's their dad's favorite pet. Flustered, Subai tries to explain he wasn't doing anything, but then Xiao leaps onto a bag of food. Subai calls him a glutton and his sister asks why the turtle is so hungry. Their dad just fed it. That's when Subai realizes Xiao's appetite has exploded. He suspects the little guy might be about to evolve and decides he needs to find it more food fast. Half an hour later, their parents walk in and find the apartment completely trashed. His mother Lin asks if the house got robbed, while his sister Xiao clutches her last snack. She's running from Xiao, who's chasing her down, and let me tell you, it's pure chaos. Their dad asks in horror if that's really Xiao, and his mom wonders how a tortoise got so fast. Awkwardly, Subai tries to explain, but the apartment is still a complete disaster. He sighs, deciding not to tell his parents that Xiao is a bottomless eating machine. He figures they have enough on their plate, watching his angry sister glare at the tortoise. Then Subai notices a powerful aura radiating from Xiao. He wonders if the little glutton is finally full, if its black tortoise bloodline is about to awaken. The next day, he's standing in front of the beast shop, thinking about what happened. Xiao's power surge vanished almost instantly, meaning something's not quite right. The bloodline hasn't awakened, but somehow the tortoise is eating even more than before. Which is exactly what brought Subai back to the shop, where the lady at the counter recognizes him. She asks if he's finally decided to buy something, but Subai has other plans. He says he's not buying, then leans in and whispers, asking if they accept exotic beast blood. Her eyes widen, she shouts in total shock, asking if he's serious. Now pay attention, because her loud reaction catches the attention of the shop owner. The owner tells the lady to live, and she immediately obeys, turning to Subai. He invites Subai inside to sit and talk business, saying he overheard. He asks if he can inspect the quality of the exotic beast blood first, and Subai agrees. The owner examines the vial, taking a careful sniff. His entire expression changes. Pure shock, he confirms it. This is absolutely real top-quality exotic beast blood. The owner asks Subai to name his price for it. Knowing how hard it was to get this from Xiao, Subai figures it has to be valuable. He thinks it must be worth at least 100 yen. To his surprise, the owner offers 1,000 un. Subai jumps to his feet in shock, and I know what you're thinking, that's already a huge win. Seeing his reaction, the owner chuckles, admitting he was just joking. For blood this good, 10,000. Subai is even more stunned, the number is just unbelievable. Noticing his excitement, the owner ups the offer to 15,000, but says that's his absolute limit. Subai covers his mouth, hiding his massive grin, and turns away to compose himself. Finally, he agrees to the deal, trying his best to act reluctant. He tells the owner that if he wasn't desperate for cash, he'd never sell it. After getting paid, Subai walks out of the shop with a massive smile. The owner tells him to come back anytime, he has high-quality goods, and Subai heads down the alley. Walking home, Subai checks his phone, still blown away by how much the blood was worth. He realizes Xiao can basically pay for its own insane food bill now. Just then, his phone rings. It's his teacher Lee telling him his academic results are out. She says there's also some important news, and that he needs to come to the school that afternoon. He has to fill out his application and absolutely cannot be late. Subai asks what the big news is, but teacher Lee doesn't answer, probably a bad signal. Suddenly, a system window pops up right in front of him with a chilling warning. And just like that, you and I know his good day is officially over. 3 nearby humans have bad intentions. The system identifies them. Fang Yi, a primary-level warrior, and 2 regular guys, Guang and Dong. Subai turns around to see the 3 men blocking his path. They were definitely waiting for him. Fang Yi sneers, saying that based on the pet shop owner's attitude earlier. Subai must have something very valuable on him. He then orders Subai to hand it all over. Subai, trying to stay calm, tells them he was just at the pet store to sell. He was just selling things, not buying. He silently curses his terrible luck. If only one of them was a primary warrior, he wouldn't be this on edge. Seeing the look on his face, Fang Yi just laughs and demands the money. Subai tells Xiao Ba to curl up, grabs the turtle and tells the thug he'll hand it over. Then he hurls Xiao Ba straight at Fang Yi, who instinctively blocks it with his weapon. Now pay attention because this is where everything flips. The thug screams in absolute agony. Xiao Ba had nailed him right where it counts. Guang and Dong are stunned, rushing to their boss. Subai grabs his chance, scooping up Xiao Ba and making a run for it, asking if the little guy is okay. After hitting that weapon, Xiao Ba lets out a roar, confirming its shell defense is no joke. The two goons catch up, so Subai tells Xiao Ba to clamp onto his fist. It does. Subai stops dead in his tracks and swings a punch right into Dong's chin. Using Xiao Ba's shell as a brass knuckle, he then turns to Guang, dodges a grab and lands a solid blow. A punch to the back of the head sends him straight to the pavement. Fang Yi forces himself up, screaming that he's going to end Subai right there. Subai orders Xiao Ba to pull back, then swings his arm and launches the turtle at Fang Yi's face. It knocks out several teeth and Fang Yi collapses in a heap. Subai calmly picks up his bag. He reminds them they started this, they brought this on themselves. As Subai gets ready to leave, he spots Xiao Ba on top of Fang Yi drinking something. Alarmed, he rushes over and snatches the bottle away from his pet. He wonders what on earth Xiao Ba was drinking and realizes it might be a Kai and blood potion. Subai knew that bottle was worth tens of thousands of yen. He also remembers a warrior is supposed to absorb a potion like that over a whole month. But his turtle, it chugged the entire thing in one go. Worried, he asks Xiao Ba if it can handle it. The little guy is shaking slightly, but Subai is surprised by an intense feeling. A wave of power washes over him. The system panel flashes open with his updated stats. His level had jumped to normal mid-tier, matching Xiao Ba's own level up. His strength shot up to 16, agility to 12, and spirit to a massive 22. The window also revealed his attributes and talents. Talent 1, Evolution, the beast can evolve forever. No level cap, it can even break through to the divine level. And as the beast gets stronger, its stats and talents are proportionally reflected back to the tamer. And yeah, you heard that right. The stronger Xiao Ba becomes, the more of a monster Subai becomes. Talent 2, Turtle Skin Defense, a new ability. By using stamina, he can cover his own skin with a super tough turtle-like layer. It provides insane defense. The system also showed Xiao Ba's new stats. Its physique hit 23, its defense a whopping 38. And it had even gotten bigger. Subai remembers what he learned in class. Even high-level strength-type exotic beasts usually only hit around 30 physique. He was just now realizing that his little turtle was an absolute freak of nature. He could only imagine what its other abilities would be like once they were unlocked. Patting the shell, Subai tells Xiao Ba it's had enough to eat, and they need to get going. Xiao Ba agrees and the two of them quickly disappear, the very next day at school. The teacher announces that the academic results are officially out. She reminds everyone they have to submit their university applications that day, then share some huge news. The next day, a special admissions teacher from the legendary Marshall University would be visiting. It's that time of year again. Recruiters are visiting the school to run ability tests. And this year, 2 guaranteed spots are open for Marshall University. Yanren casually asks Subai where he's planning to apply. Without a moment's hesitation, he tells her Marshall University. He's not just confident, he's absolutely determined to get in. She's completely stunned, asking why he isn't joining her at the academy like they'd talked about. She reminds him that Marshall University is a pipeline straight to the battlefield. It's not just a school, it's a death wish, but Subai stands firm. And right here we get a glimpse of his true character. This is important. He says he's heading to the battlefield to protect someone special to him. Yanren's mind starts racing, wondering if that someone could possibly be her. A nearby classmate interrupts, asking Yanren where she's applying. He assumes that since she hasn't awakened her abilities, she'll choose the safe option. But Yanran just brushes him off, saying she hasn't made up her mind yet. The teacher then chimes in, reminding everyone how critical this decision is. She tells them all to take their report cards home and talk it over. They need to discuss everything with their parents and have their applications ready. The decision needs to be made by the very next day. Later, while her personal maid prepares her bath, Yanran is lost in thought. The water is perfect, but her mind is somewhere else entirely. She grabs her phone and calls Subai, telling him she's decided to apply to Marshall. She even promises him a big surprise. Subai, however, is busy cleaning up a huge mess. He immediately asks if she's joking, completely shocked by her sudden change of heart. Okay, I know what you're thinking, is she serious? Oh, 100%. She's made her decision. Subai, distracted, just agrees with her. He quickly says he can't talk and ends the call, shouting for Zaira. Turns out he's yelling at his pet turtle, calling it a little troublemaker. He complains that all the tiny creature does is eat and poop, and he's sick of cleaning it up. The next day, the entire school gathers in the main hall for an assembly. Their teacher announces a special guest, Instructor Jun Kai from Marshall University. He traveled a long way just to speak with them today. She also reveals that Kai is one of them, a senior martial artist who graduated from this very high school. Jun Kai takes the stage and immediately gets down to business. He tells them that a year ago, 126 of their students were admitted to Marshall. But today, only 65 of them are still alive. 2 years ago, 98 were admitted, only 32 survived. 3 years ago, 86 were admitted, and just 11 remain. And trust me, you and I can feel the entire room go silent after that. Kai clarifies he's not trying to scare them off with these numbers. Being accepted to Marshall isn't about bragging rights, it's about duty. It means facing insane dangers and protecting the entire country. He then roars, asking if they still want to become strong. The students answer with a massive yes. Kai cracks a smile, impressed by their spirit, and says he looks forward to their performance. A moment later, Subai's homeroom teacher suddenly calls out his name. Standing right next to her is Instructor Jun Kai, and Subai is completely confused. Alright, let's jump right in. Junai confirms Subai's identity, then drops a bombshell. He tells him he's been selected for direct admission to the legendary Marshall University. But the catch is he needs to leave immediately to prep for the entrance test. Subai is stunned. He asks if Kai is serious, and Kai confirms it's 100% real. There's even a bus already waiting for him at the school gate. Wild, right? His classmates can't believe it, direct admission. Some think he's got powerful connections. Others are just plain jealous of his insane luck. An hour later, Subai and the other recruits arrive at Marshall University, and the driver tells them to get off the bus. One by one, they all gather at the main entrance where a teacher is waiting. She welcomes them warmly and asks them to follow her onto the campus grounds. As they walk, the students are completely captivated by a huge stone monument. A bunch of them immediately start snapping pictures. The teacher explains that the monument displays Marshall University's motto, and Subai finds it powerful and inspiring. She then leads them over to collect their official training uniforms. Afterward, she points them toward the male dormitory, telling them to find their assigned rooms, get some rest, and change into their new gear. She adds that someone will be by later to announce the time for their entrance exam. The students nod and thank her for the instructions. When Subai finds his dorm, room 303, he hears voices coming from inside. Now you're going to want to hear this. A guy with red hair is going on about how resources are everything for a martial artist. He's bragging that his father managed to get 3 drops of extremely rare beast's blood, and even hired a master apothecary to brew 3 bottles of a top-tier body refining elixir. The other students are totally in awe, saying their own families could only afford basic blood chi powder. They've never even seen blood from a rare beast. That's when Subai walks into the room, introducing himself as their new roommate in 303. The red-haired dude introduces himself as Jiang Gagang and the other 2 as Tao Jun and Feng Chuan. Jun gives Subai a warm welcome, saying there's no need to be so formal. He even invites Subai to come check out Jiang's super rare potion. Jiang proudly shows off the elixir, explaining that his father had to call in favors from people all over the country just to get that beast's blood from Yuan. Apparently, there were only 3 drops available in the entire country. Hearing this, Sabai starts to wonder, could that be the same blood he sold? He asks Jiang if it cost a fortune, but Jiang just shrugs, saying it wasn't that bad. Each drop was worth a little over 30,000 yuan, so 3 drops cost just under 100,000. He waves it off like it's nothing. And I know what you're thinking because Sabai is absolutely furious. That pet store owner paid him 15,000 yuan, then sold it for 10 times the price. But just as he's cursing that old crook, they hear a commotion outside about a beautiful girl showing up near their dorm. The noise gets everyone's attention. A stunning young woman approaches the guard at the entrance, who asks who she's looking for. Jun, peeking from the window, is pretty sure she must be the campus queen. Jiang and Chuan are just as starstruck, wondering who she's here to see. Then, to their total shock, the woman, who is Yanren, tells the guard she's looking for Sabai. The guard immediately yells for Sabai to get down there, and trust me, this is where it gets good. Trust me, you're about to see how one girl's visit can flip a guy's life upside down. Absolutely floored, they couldn't believe Yanren was actually here for him. Ignoring their stunned faces, Sabai rushed right downstairs to meet her. Yanren greeted him with a warm smile, telling him he looked sharp in his training uniform. Dusting off his shoulders, she added that it made him look even more handsome. And yeah, that made him blush while his roommates watched, burning with envy. Yanren asked if he was upset about the mission, but he quickly assured her he wasn't. He just mentioned that he had planned on taking the official exam himself. Gently patting her head, he thanked her, knowing she pulled strings for his sake. A little flustered, Yanren asked why he was thanking her, admitting she was just worried. She thought he might fail the entrance test, but Sabai promised her there was no chance of that. She then handed over a small package, explaining what was inside. A cultivation elixir, prepared specially for him before the big test. It was the day after tomorrow, and she just wanted to help him out as much as she could. Sabai didn't want to take it, telling Yanren she'd already done so much for him. He insisted she should be the one to keep it for her own training. But she just turned, said she was leaving, and that she'd see him tomorrow. Now pay attention because back in the dorm, his roommates were absolutely losing their minds. Some were even shouting to investigate his background, totally determined. They had to find out who this guy was, daring to compete for their goddess. So when Sabai got back, his dorm mates greeted him with this comically over-the-top respect. Calling him brother and immediately offering him a seat, he was totally surprised. They even started massaging his shoulders while asking him about the goddess. Sabai, completely confused, asked what goddess they were even talking about. Jun clarified they meant the girl who came looking for him just a few minutes ago. Sabai just explained that she was an old classmate from high school. Jagang just grinned, reminding him they were all dorm brothers now. He suggested that with Sabai's connection, Yanren could introduce her friends to them. Before Sabai could even answer, Jagang proposed they all go out for a celebratory dinner. The others immediately agreed, shouting that it was settled and telling him to rest. While they handled all the arrangements, Sabai just watched them go. After they left, he let Xiao Ba out of his bag, thinking his roommates were interesting. Okay, I know what you're thinking, and yeah, they're hilariously two-faced. Taking out the elixir, he discovered it was blood kai powder. He smiled, telling his little turtle Xiao Ba that it was in for another treat. And you could see the pure shock on Xiao Ba's face at this unexpected feast. Later, at a super fancy restaurant, Sabai told Jagang it was a bit over the top. But Jagang just waved it off, telling him not to worry and just enjoy himself. He then raised his glass, toasting to meeting such great dorm brothers. He gave special props to Sabai for being so capable, then downed his drink. Jagang told them all to relax, saying there was no need for formalities. After all, from now on, they were all family in this dorm. During the meal, Jagang again mentioned Sabai's connection to Yanren. Sabai agreed, but then said he might need Jagang's help with something else. And that's when he places a small bottle of beast's blood right on the table. And watch this, Sabai just casually mentions he has some rare beast's blood to sell. Jun's eyes go wide as he grabs the bottle, realizing it's on another level. Way higher quality than the blood Jagang was bragging about earlier. Jagang takes a closer look and has to admit it, he's never seen beast blood this pure. He confesses he can't even put a price on something this valuable. His only idea is to call his father for an expert opinion, and Subai just agrees. Tells them there's no rush, they can finish their meal first. A moment later, Gagang calls. But before he can even get a word out, his father is already yelling through the phone. He's asking if Gagang blew through all his allowance money again. Mr. Han reminds him he's at Marshall University to become a warrior, not a party animal. Gagang quickly calms him down, explaining he's not calling for cash. This is serious business. He tells him a classmate has 7 drops of beast blood. And it's even better quality than the stuff his father bought before. Gagang admits he's totally clueless on what it's worth. He begs his father to come see it for himself. Mr. Han is stunned. He asks if his son is absolutely sure. Gagang swears on it, urging him to hurry. Mr. Han agrees, saying he'll even bring Master Cha. Now you know this is a huge deal. An hour later, Master Cha is examining the blood, his eyes literally sparkling with excitement. He declares that the energy inside is the purest he's ever seen in this type of blood. With 7 drops, he says he could forge a top-tier body refining pill. Mr. Han wonders if the master is overestimating, but Master Cha is certain. He assures him that his appraisal is spot on, explaining that even the best instruments would probably value it even higher than his estimate. Gagang is absolutely thrilled, hyping up Subai for having such an insane treasure. Master Cha then asks Subai the big question, how much does he want for it? But Subai replies that this blood can't be bought with money. It can only be traded for an item of equal value, blood chi powder. Mr. Han nods, understanding completely, and as a show of good faith offers 14 bottles of the powder for all 7 drops. Subai agrees instantly. But Mr. Han isn't done. He then asks Subai if he'd consider joining the Han family. He promises him unlimited resources for his cultivation journey. Subai politely turns him down, saying he's not looking to join any family right now. Mr. Han starts to press him, trying to change his mind, but their talk is cut short. A sudden voice interrupts, saying Subai has no interest in the Han family. Everyone whips around to see Yanran standing there, glaring at Mr. Han. She repeats herself, Subai's decision is final. Mr. Han, startled, asks who she is. Gagang recognizes her immediately, exclaiming, isn't that the goddess Yanran? Yanran calmly says she was just running errands and happened to see them. Still confused, Mr. Han asks Master Cha who this girl is. The master lines in and whispers. And whatever he said leaves Mr. Han looking absolutely terrified. He immediately grabs Subai and Gagang, laughing nervously as he speaks to Yanran. He tries to brush it all off as one big misunderstanding between good friends. But Yanran isn't fazed. She walks right up to Subai and softly asks if he's heading back. He nods and she suggests they should walk back to the school together. You and I both know she just marked her territory, and things are about to get complicated. Alright, let me show you how one dad's warning completely changes the game for his son. As Yanran grabs Subai's arm to pull him away, Jayagang calls out for her to wait. He's also heading back to school, but his father, Mr. Han, stops him dead in his tracks. He tells Jayagang to get along with Subai, explaining the Han family's future might be at stake. He also adds that Jayagang must keep a very safe and polite distance from Lin Yanran. Jayagang, now totally confused, demands to know why. Why are Subai and Yanran suddenly so important when he'd never noticed before? 2 days later at Marshall University's training ground, Junkai addresses the freshmen. He announces that in the coming days, every single one of them will be participating in a special training session for all incoming first years. And the location, none other than the infamous Battlefield of Myriad Races. I mean, you and I both know how dangerous that sounds, so one student nervously asks if it's for real. Junkai acknowledges the risks but tries to reassure them. He explains their specific training area has already been cleared by the university's forces. Their safety will be guaranteed. He adds that while failing isn't the end of the world. Their top priority should be simple: survive. The plan is this: every 50 students will form a class, led by a bronze-level instructor. That instructor will assign their tasks and oversee everything. He wishes them a triumphant return. Suddenly, an excited Yanran runs over to Subai, happily announcing that they're in the same class. Subai's dorm mates are thrilled to see her, of course. But their joy is cut short when a woman appears, questioning the class arrangements. She shouts for Class 8 to gather around and introduces herself. Her name is Li Yuzhen, and she'll be their special training instructor. She explains that she will be the one relaying all tasks during their training. As the students gather, many of them can't help but notice how beautiful she is. But her next words silence the entire crowd, their first task to write a will. A deep sense of dread washes over them. Are their lives actually on the line? Some think of their families, of everything they still wanted to accomplish. Yuzhen gives them exactly 1 day to complete their wills. They're ordered to gather at the teleportation plaza by 8 a.m. the next morning for departure. Yanren turns to Subai asking if he has any plans. He just says no. He doesn't have much to prepare, so he'll just head back to the dorm. She agrees and tells him she'll see him tomorrow, later at the men's dormitory. Jiagang proposes one last fun night out before they ship off to the battlefield. He invites Subai to join them, but Subai declines, saying he has something to do. He wishes them a great time and says he'll call if he needs anything. As Jiagang and the others are leaving, he notices Xiao Ba beside Subai. He knocks on its shell, remarking on how hard it is and calling it interesting. Subai introduces Xiao Ba as his pet, mentioning its massive appetite. Jiagang laughs, calls it cool, and heads out with the others for the night. Once they're gone, Subai turns to Xiao Ba with a grin. He tells the little turtle that since it's always hungry, tonight it can eat all it wants. But he warns Xiao Ba that once they hit the battlefield of Myriad Races, it's time to show what it's really capable of, and trust me, you are not ready for this reveal. Xiao Ba eagerly agrees, showing Subai its empty bowl for another dose of blood chi powder. Xiao immediately starts scarfing it down, and Subai just chuckles, reminding the turtle to take it slow. It's not like anyone's gonna steal its food, and just then the system chimes in. A new notification pops up, congratulating Subai for upgrading Xiao to an ordinary high-tier beast. And get this, Subai's own level has gone up, granting him a brand new talent. Heavy Strike. Xiao freezes, feeling its entire body surge with new power. The system displays the turtle's new stats. It's even gained a third talent. Heavy Strike. When this ability is triggered, it burns stamina to massively enhance attack power. We're talking a boost of 100 to 200%, with the damage scaling based on stamina used. As Xiao processes this insane transformation, Subai praises his little turtle. He jokes that it better show off all this new strength in the days ahead. The system then displays Subai's own upgraded stats and his new Heavy Strike talent. Looks like that bloodchat powder worked like a charm. Xiao has leveled up again. And their attribute gains are seriously impressive. Subai praises Xiao once more. He tells the turtle that once they hit the battlefield, they're going all out. He asks if Xiao is ready, and it gives a confident, resounding yes. The next day at the teleportation plaza, an officer reports to the chief instructor. All students are present and accounted for, ready for the mission. The chief gives the order, activate teleportation array number 1 and prepare to move out. The officer confirms, and the students start filing into the massive array. Gagang is completely blown away by the sheer size of the thing. He remarks that this is the kind of tech you only get to see at a place like Marshall University. Yanren, standing beside Subai, tells him to be careful out there. She's clearly worried about him heading to the battlefield of Myriad Races. But Subai just reassures her, promising they'll complete the mission and come back safe. She smiles and wishes him good luck as they approach the front of the line. Instructor Yin tells everyone to completely relax their bodies to ensure a safe teleport. Following her lead, the students successfully warp out. They rematerialize on the battlefield of Myriad Races, right inside a military base. Gagang's eyes are wide. He asks if this is really the military base inside the battlefield. Jiaozi excitedly confirms it, while Chunwen just shouts about how cool this all is. Their excitement, however, gets cut short real quick. Yujian yells at them to quiet down, then introduces them to Deputy Commander Leo. He explains that they're all just fresh recruits who haven't seen the real world yet. Leo introduces himself as the Deputy Commander of Military Base, F-269. He tells them they can call him Deputy Commander or just Sir. And he makes one thing crystal clear: he doesn't care if they're students or instructors. On his turf, they follow his orders. He asks if they understand and they all shout back. In perfect unison, yes sir, Leo then tells them they're in luck. Turns out his team just wrapped up a major battle, gagging whispers to Subai. He wonders what the big deal is, since Leo's just a deputy commander. Subai points out the scars on Leo's face, saying he looks like a hardened veteran. Leo announces their first task, cleaning up the battlefield. While they're at it, they'll also clear out any leftover shadow cats in the area. He says this is the perfect first mission for a bunch of newbies. Plus he adds taking out shadow cats will earn them some merit points. Let's talk about merit points, currency you can trade for blood sheep. Powder and body refinement elixirs to get a massive strength boost. Jiagang is hyped, shouting that fortune favors the brave, and John agrees. He says it's no wonder so many people risk everything to come here. Lehao just smirks, seeing how ready for a fight they are. He tells them they're moving out, no time to waste. They all cheer, but Subai, he stays calm, already thinking. He's calculating the best way to rack up merit points for those valuable resources. He also figures this trip will finally give Ziaki a real challenge. As they march toward the battlefield, the recruits pass a grim sight. Wounded soldiers heading back from the front lines, some with missing arms or legs. They're screaming in agony, and John asks if this was from fighting. Shadow Cat's Jiagang is horrified. How could the lowest level monsters be this dangerous? Now here's where the reality check kicks in, watch their faces. A female student, shaking with fear, wonders if she'll even survive this. That's when Yuzin snaps, shouting at them to shut their mouths. She reminds them they all applied to a martial university. They knew the risks and they better be ready to face death. Yanren, worried, tells Subai to stick close to her on the battlefield. Subai agrees, telling her to be careful too. He already gets it, you can't let your guard down for a second out here. Arriving at the camp gate, a soldier reports to Deputy Commander Lehao. His team is guarding the northern gate and just took down some attackers. 35 beasts to be exact. Lehao praises his men for their work. Then he gives the order, open the gate, show the recruits what war looks like. The massive gate groans open, revealing the chaotic battlefield beyond. Yan addresses the group, telling them it's an honor to have Lehao personally leading their team, so they better not screw it up. The students all shout that they understand, standing at the gate's edge. Lehao turns back to them and asks if they remembered to leave their wills at the office. He warns them that from this moment on, death is their new best friend. And yeah, I think you and I can guess how shocked they were to see this. Right outside, the military is in a constant firefight against monsters. Just a brutal, never-ending wave of claws and chaos. The squad leader on duty spots them and asks Lehao why he's here. Lehao cuts him off, no time for chit-chat. He orders the man to grab a squad and help him protect the trainees. The man immediately obeys. Yuzin then briefs them on their destination, Military Zone F269. She points out their location on a map, explaining the terrain. It's a jungle where the beasts have supposedly been cleared out already. Their mission, just extract the beast cores from the dead shadow cats. Lehao asks if they're ready. Of course, they all scream yes. The squad leader calls his team to move, with soldiers falling in for protection. The man assures Yuzin not to worry, saying that cleanup duty isn't dangerous. He adds that they send new recruits to do it all the time, which, let's be real, is a massive red flag. Trust me, you're about to see how a simple training mission turns into a fight for survival. Subai asks Leota why a commander like him is personally leading the protection team. But Leota just barks at him, saying he talks way too much. He's warned not to ask questions above his pay grade, and the guy quickly agrees. Subai then thanks Leota for his trouble, but the commander says it's nothing. After all, the new recruits from the military university are the future. They're the next generation of soldiers, and protecting them is his duty. Meanwhile, in the imperial capital, at the Dragon Nation's high command. And right here is where everything starts to go wrong. A soldier bursts in with an emergency report. He tells the chief they just got new intel from the Battlefield of all races. A huge number of fierce beasts have just broken through their defense line. What's worse, 12 gold-level warriors from the Shadowcat clan have joined the attack. They're targeting 12 southwest bases, including D-128 and D-140. The chief immediately orders his men to track the beast's movements and tells every single military base to beef up their defenses. He knows the first-year students from the various martial universities are out there. They're training on that very battlefield and as the nation's future. They cannot afford any losses. Meanwhile, in military zone F-269, Leota is telling the recruits to clear the area and get moving now. Every extra minute they waste here only puts them in more danger. The students get to work, collecting the cores from the dead beasts. Yanran notes the fur, flesh, and claws can all be used for weapons and medicine. Sabai finally gets it. No wonder so many people risk their lives coming here. This dangerous battlefield is absolutely packed with rare materials. And he can't help but think, Zyra is going to eat well tonight. He decides he should collect more beast cores to trade for blood sheep powder. That way Zyra can level up again when they get back, but just then. Now pay attention because this is where everything changes. The system screams a warning of extreme danger. 164 Shadow Cat aliens are closing in fast. Hostility confirmed. The threat is 3 kilometers southwest, a 5-star high threat and a 4-star deadly threat. He's on his feet in a second, remembering the last warning he got. That was for a beginner warrior. This is a 5-star deadly threat. Yanran, confused by his sudden move, asks him what's wrong. Without a word, he sprints over to Yin, telling her they have a situation. He says he can sense a large group of beasts closing in fast from the southwest. Yin looks but sees nothing. The area is completely silent. She jumps down from a tree and starts yelling at him. This is a real battlefield, not a place for him to play games and cause a panic. He needs to think about the consequences, but Sabai insists he's not joking. He tells her again, a huge group of beasts is absolutely on its way. That's when Leota shows up behind him, asking if his name is Sabai. He heard the claim, but he guarantees there are no beasts within 2 kilometers. Sabai, completely serious, explains it again. At least 100 shadow cats, 3 kilometers away, and they are coming straight for them. So Leota asks if he's claiming his senses are better than a commander's, and you and I are about to find out who's right. Lo figures Sabai is just a nervous rookie seeing things, since it's his first time on a real battlefield. He tells him not to take it personally. But Yanran shouts back, telling them not to jump to conclusions. She's the only one who actually believes what Sabai is saying. He insists the beasts are getting closer and that they have to trust him. He's a beast tamer. With a special sense for crisis, this reveal completely shocks Yin. An ability user, why wasn't it registered with the school? Sabai explains he was recommended directly to Marshall University, so his file was never updated. The other students are floored. An ability user has been among them this whole time. They wonder why they've never even seen his summoned beasts before. And right on cue, listen closely, a swarm of growls erupts from the darkness. The students instinctively fall back in terror when they see them, shadow cats. Sabai was right all along. Lo screams for the students to get in formation. He orders them to form a defensive circle around him, immediately. The communications officer is ordered to contact the base and request backup. But the news that comes back is the worst possible scenario. The base reports they're also detecting a massive number of beasts right outside their own walls. Sending support is impossible. They are completely and utterly on their own. Yin's voice trembles as she asks Lo if there are really hundreds of them coming. She points out the obvious, without reinforcements, their limited combat skills won't be enough. Lo has to admit it, Sabai's senses were dead-on accurate. He can now feel the massive horde of beasts closing in fast. He calls over the vice squad leader and orders 4 soldiers to protect 2 specific students. They are to guard them with their lives. The man agrees, but one of the students protests. He yells that he can fight just fine and doesn't need protection. Just then, a bronze-level shadow cat appears right in front of them. The military opens fire instantly as the pack lunges forward. The students watch in absolute horror as the beasts effortlessly rip through soldiers. They realize these aren't just cats, they're more like savage tigers. Lo screams at his team to hold the defensive line no matter what. Yushin tells the students that if they can just survive this first devastating charge, they might have a chance to win. She reminds them of the oath they all swore. As the shadow cats get closer, the students roar in perfect unison. That with their chests, they will forge an unbreakable great wall for the Dragon Nation. Suddenly, bright arrows slice through the air, nailing the lead cats just in time. And here's the part you and I were waiting for. The class powerhouses finally arrive. Manny tells Yancheng to hold them off while she provides piercing support. But Yancheng just laughs it off, claiming these cats are nothing. He boasts that he'll crush them all himself. Yushin recognizes the two instantly. Manny the skilled archer and Yancheng the natural-born powerhouse. She's proud of this year's class. Their potential is truly off the charts. The other students also recognize the pair's insane skill and strength. A wave of excitement hits them. These two are several levels above everyone else. Suddenly, a bone-chilling growl echoes across the field, forcing everyone to stop. A much larger beast emerges from the forest, and you just know the real fight is about to begin. And just when they thought it was over, the real boss appears. Stick with me, this is the Shadow Cat King. A silver-tier beast with 45 physique, 88 ability, and 43 mental strength. Leota, who is holding his own against the regular cats, could only stare in pure horror. He's in disbelief. How did a silver-level cat king even get here? Instantly, he orders his men to call base for reinforcements. They need them now. But without waiting, Yang Zhang rushes forward, launching his sword at the new threat. He taunts the king as he strikes. At the same time, Manny aims her bow at the beast. She yells out to Yang Cheng, telling him she'll provide support and for him to just distract it, but Yuzhen is panicking, screaming for them both to retreat immediately. She warns them, a silver-level beast is not something they can take on lightly. But before they can react, the Shadow Cat King counterattacks, effortlessly. One swipe of its claws is all it takes. Both Manny and Yang Cheng are hit hard. They're thrown to the ground as Yuzhen's panic hits its peak, urging them to get back. Realizing there's no time, Leota orders his men to open fire on the Cat King. But the beast is completely unfazed by the bullets, not even flinching. Instead, it pounces toward the two fallen students, but just then something intervenes. A projectile smacks the Shadow Cat King in the head, pushing it away at the last second. They all look and see it was Xiao Ba, leaving them totally confused about what it is. Yaowen wonders if it's a turtle, but Jiagang realizes instantly who it belongs to. It's Subai's Xiaoa. Subai walks forward, admitting his entrance was a bit awkward. He then introduces himself to everyone as a professional beast tamer. And yes, Xiaoa is his beast. Now watch closely because this is where things get wild. He tells them to handle the small fries while he deals with the Cat King. Everyone is stunned. They can't believe what they just saw. A turtle just knocked the Cat King away. Yanren stares in pure amazement, wondering if that's really his tamed beast. Subai gives the order for Xiaoa to show the overgrown cat what it's made of. And immediately Xiaoa charges, astonishing everyone. They're all wondering how Subai's turtle is running so fast. Is it even a turtle anymore? Leota watches while fighting. He's shooting other cats but can't take his eyes off Xiaoa's fight, remarking to Yin that he never expected Subai to have this kind of power. Yin agrees completely. She hadn't expected it either, noting that his beast taming style is definitely different. She then turns to the other students, rallying them, since Subai is distracting the boss. They have the perfect opportunity to attack and clear out the rest of the nether cats. The students quickly team up, unleashing everything they've got on the smaller mobs. Magic and physical attacks fly, eliminating the shadow cats all around them. Meanwhile, the Cat King manages to pin Xiaoa to the ground, raising its sharp claws. It slashes down with full force, but freezes in shock when its own claws shatter on impact. I know what you're thinking, and yeah, that's as insane as it sounds. How could a normal-grade creature withstand a Silver King's crushing attack? But Leota knows this isn't the time to be shocked. He leaps forward, shouting for his team. To cover him, with the Cat King occupied, he aims his sword right at its abdomen. The weak spot, he tries to pierce it from behind, declaring that it's over. Time to die, but the Cat King whips its tail around, knocking Leota away. Fortunately, he manages to land on his feet, realizing that he completely missed his target. But without a moment's hesitation, he lunges at the beast once more. It was do or die. Subai roared for Xiaoba to use its ultimate move. A brilliant green light exploded from Xiaoba's body, and trust me, nobody knew what to expect. They just stared, wondering what kind of attack involved spinning in place like a top. But as Xiao Ba spun faster and faster, Subai took a step back. He remembered. The boss guide said the Cat King's weak spot was its abdomen. With a roar, he moved. He kicked Xiao Ba with all his might, launching the spinning shell like a cannonball. The impact was insane. Xiao Ba slammed right into the beast's stomach, snapping its spine. The massive Cat King crashed to the ground as Xiao Ba landed perfectly, not a scratch on it. Leota couldn't believe it. Xiao Ba actually hit the weak spot. He told the others to check on the monster. The Cat King struggled to its feet, letting out one final deafening howl to the sky. Then it collapsed, dead. The students erupted in cheers, their relief echoing through the clearing. Leota, still in shock, asked, Did we actually win? Yanran was over the moon with joy. She jumped forward and threw her arms around Subai, shouting that he was a total hero. He'd taken down a silver-level Cat King. The other students swarmed him, full of praise. They were all desperate to know where he got such an amazing turtle. But Xiao Ba was already busy poking around the Cat King's corpse. Subai saw it and panicked. He yelled, demanding to know what it was trying to secretly eat this time, shouting for it to get back. Before he could stop it, the sky went dark and rain began to fall. Xiao Ba completely ignored Subai's calls, busy eating the core it had pulled from the monster. Leota's face suddenly turned grim. He understood the danger they were in now. And here's the part where it all goes wrong. That final howl wasn't a death cry, it was a summons. He realized a far more terrifying beast was on its way. Meanwhile, back at base operations, a man reported that their energy wave analysis showed a massive threat near base F269. Countless beasts of an unknown level, the danger was off the charts. This horrified the chief, who immediately asked if Hyulin's daughter was with that group of trainees. Mr. Yuan confirmed it. She was right in the middle of it all. He urged the chief to send support immediately. The chief didn't hesitate. He promised to dispatch a scout company to escort them to the battlefield, but Yuan cut him off. No time, he couldn't wait for them, he was going himself. Yuan just said he hoped reinforcements would arrive within 20 minutes. The chief promised the order was being sent that very second. As the situation spiraled, the chief scrambled to make a call. He knew if a guy like Hyulin went berserk, the entire city of Jiangsu would pay the price. Back on the battlefield, the nightmare had already begun. A pair of enormous red eyes appeared in the sky, a deep voice mocking them. Foolish humans, it boomed, a lowly species. Yuan panicked, how is this possible? I know what you're thinking, and yeah, you heard that right. The beast can actually talk. Leota was just as shocked. For a beast to speak their language, it had to be a monster. At least a golden-level threat, something that should never have appeared in this zone. He immediately yelled for everyone to get into a defensive formation, with the injured in the middle. Suddenly, a shadow beast descended right behind the dead Cat King. Its eyes were locked onto them. It roared, how dare you slaughter my kind. Then it started furiously devouring its fallen comrade's corpse. Leota was in pure disbelief. He kept muttering that it was impossible, questioning how a monster like this was even here. At that exact moment, the system confirms what you and I already feared: extreme danger. A gold-level beast has appeared. Immediate evacuation is advised. Threat level 5 stars, and right here we see the students finally grasp the terrifying truth. This was a mutated Shadow Cat King gold level, with 272 constitution and 345 agility. Its mentality was 275, and since it was already injured, it had entered a bloodthirsty berserk state, doubling its agility and attack power. That's a 100% boost, while its defense is cut by 50%. The system's analysis. Extremely dangerous. Yang Chang is in disbelief, realizing something awful. Even their own teachers have probably never faced a monster like this before. Moni, gripped by fear, just screams that she wants to go home, that she doesn't want to die. But Leota, without hesitation, leaps forward, shouting for everyone to escort the wounded. Get them out and retreat, he would cover them, standing his ground, he declares. He'll fight this beast to the death, but before he can even make a move, the mutated Cat King effortlessly slashes him away with a single swing. Leota crashes into the ground, severely injured. Seeing this, Subai immediately orders Xiaoa to protect him. Xiaoa follows the command instantly. It manages to block the mutated cat's devastating slash with its shell, right in the nick of time. The cat is actually shocked by how incredibly tough Xiaoa's shell is, but then cracks begin spreading across its surface. Xiaoa coughs up blood and Leota, struggling to move, worriedly asks if it's okay. That's when Subai coughs up blood too. Yanran is shocked to see him injured, while Yin rushes over to help Lo. Now pay attention because they're all asking the one question we are: how is Subai hurt? Lo speculates it could be the beast Tamer talent origin confluence, but Yin dismisses it. She says it's impossible, but as she gets a closer look, a system window appears. It's a warning: his beast is in critical condition. His beast Tamer talent is active. He and Xiaoa are sharing energy and taking damage together. That's when Yin notices Subai has no external wounds, making her wonder if he actually comprehended the legendary beast taming skill Origin Confluence. Yanran worriedly asks if he's okay. He reassures her that he's fine. Yin then shouts to everyone that Subai is currently taking the gold-level cat's attacks for his tamed beast. This means they need to support him right now. Without hesitation, everyone agrees. And you gotta love this part. They rally, shouting they won't let Subai fight alone. The mutated cat just sneers, calling them a bunch of ants, but they charge forward anyway. Just then, Yin spots a shadow attack speeding right past her, heading straight for Yanran. Yanran, who's protecting Subai. A loud explosion erupts around them, but when the smoke clears, Yanran and Subai are completely unharmed. Yanran just looks forward in total shock. But Subai simply states that the crystallization from the Silver Cat King has finally been fully absorbed. At that exact moment, the system notifies him Xiaoa's level has increased to bronze tier, activating its deity bloodline and increasing all its attributes and talents by 10%. Suddenly, Xiaoa begins to glow. It's releasing a strong, bright golden light, its entire form radiating with newfound power. Yin, still in shock, asks if Subai's beast just evolved. Lo speculates it could be an epic-level tamed beast. Yanran helps Subai up, noticing his injuries are healed. He just reassures her that he's fine now. Without hesitation, he commands Xiaoa to destroy the mutated cat, and Xiaoa charges. And just watch this payback. It effortlessly sends the mutated cat flying, leaving everyone speechless. Leah was stunned. Even knowing Xiaoa was only bronze tier, she could feel the overwhelming pressure it gave off and knew its bloodline must be exceptionally high. The others just stared, not believing Xiaoa had actually knocked the mutated cat king away. Trust me, nobody saw that coming. The mutated cat dug its claws into the ground to stop itself, pure rage. It went completely berserk, screaming that it wanted them all dead. Liao Tao quickly warned them all to be careful, retreat, scatter, and run. As its rage intensified, the cat released a swarm of shadow cats from its body. It swore that not a single one of them would get out of this alive. The shadow cats bypassed Xiaoa entirely, rushing the students from behind. Subai reacted instantly, ordering Xiaoa to stop them. It let out a powerful growl. Golden light erupted, freezing the shadow cats right where they stood. The light engulfed them, pulling them toward Xiaoa as it consumed them all. With the shadows gone, Subai gave the order, no holding back, unleash full power. Xiaoa obeyed, firing an explosive energy blast straight at the mutated cat. The sheer force of it shattered the ground and obliterated the forest. Everyone stood frozen, witnessing the wave of energy dissolve the cat into dust. A moment later, Yuan landed on a tree, surprised to see that the battle was already finished. He stared at the brutal battlefield, wondering what in the world they had just been through. Walking to Yanran, he said he was relieved she was safe. Yanran replied that she was fine, but asked what brought Yuan there. Liao Tao introduced himself to Yuan and reported that during the battle, one of his squads had joined forces with the university's mentors and students, running into a horde of nether cats. He added that they had killed over 800 of them, including several at bronze tier, one at silver, and one at gold level. They were now counting casualties and giving first aid to the seriously injured. Yuan was completely shocked. He asked, wait, a gold-level creature actually appeared? And you're saying you actually managed to kill it? The very idea was unbelievable. Liao Tao explained that it was Subai and his tamed beast who did it. Yuan then turned to Subai, asking if he was the one who killed the Cat King. Subai humbly replied that it was a joint effort between him The deputy commander and the mentors, it wasn't his achievement alone. Pleased, Yuan praised him, telling him he did a remarkable job. Yuan then asked Subai if he'd be interested in studying at Jiang Fortress after he graduated university. He promised that even though Beast Hall declined him, he would guide him personally. Subai thanked Yuan for his kindness, but admitted he hadn't decided anything yet. Liao Tao then reported to Yuan that the battlefield was clear and awaited orders. Yuan ordered them all to return to the base, which Liao Tao acknowledged. He then instructed the students to count off all the candidates and enter the portal in an orderly way. Before they left, he encouraged them to continue training hard, telling them they were the strongest group he had ever seen. As Liao Tao watched the students leave, he told Yuan that those kids were truly special. Especially Subai, and you and I both know he's got some great potential. Yuan agreed, admitting even she was shocked. Even the freshman Lo remarked his future strength was simply on another level. And with that, she says her goodbyes, stating that she owes Subai her life for this one. Yen just nods, agreeing that they'll definitely meet again soon. A moment later, they're finally back, greeted by cheering teachers and students. Heroes, one teacher even calls Yang Cheng a hero, but Yang just shakes his head. He shuts down the praise, insisting the only real hero here was Subai. Compared to him, they were nothing more than cannon fodder. A man who lost his arm agrees, saying even so, he was just grateful to be alive. Another survivor missing one of his feet chimes in. He says if he hadn't lost so many classmates, he'd think the whole battle was just a dream. Kai approaches Subai, welcoming him back to the academy. He tells him he's already heard everything that went down on the battlefield. He praises Subai and the others as true heroes of the university. He even adds that Subai's assessment score this time will be the highest in school history. But Subai's response, all he wants is to go back to the dorm, shower, and sleep. Which gets a knowing laugh from everyone else who feels the exact same way. And trust me, after a day from hell, you know what feels the best. Gagang flops into bed that night, sighing that the mattress feels especially soft. He feels like he's been sealed to the bed, completely and utterly exhausted. Chaowen reflects, asking if they actually accomplished something huge out there, and whether their military achievements would even be recorded. Gagang, however, is way more interested in how many resources they can get for it. He jokes that if they're talking about real military achievements, their boy Subai single-handedly took down a gold-level beast. He bets that alone is worth a whole mountain of training supplies. Suddenly excited, Gagang asks Subai what kind of turtle he got. He says he might want one for himself, not for fighting, just because they seem so chill. But Subai doesn't answer. Why? Because Yea is already dead asleep, peacefully dreaming of kissing a very pretty female turtle. The next morning, a loud banging on their door shatters the peace. Now pay attention, because you already know what fame brings, right? Gagang wakes up annoyed, yelling at them to stop knocking so early. But when he opens the door, he's stunned to see several pretty upperclassmen holding gifts. They introduce themselves as members of the Jiang Wu Student Council. And since our boys are heroes, they brought them all breakfast. They add that the senior girls made it themselves, so they better appreciate it. Then, without skipping a beat, they ask which one of them is Subai. Jae Gung, still in shock, lets them in, assuring them they're way too kind. He promises that their incredible generosity won't be wasted. The ladies swarm into the room, eagerly looking around for their hero. Where's Subai? Can we take a picture with him? Chaowen just points to an empty bed. He tells them their boy already went out for his morning run. He then curiously asks if they know Subai, but a girl just snaps back at him. She demands to know why he didn't mention Subai was gone in the first place. One scoffs, saying everyone in the entire school knows who Subai is now. So let's see how our boy Subai handles becoming a national hero overnight. One of the ladies excitedly confirms, urging everyone to turn on the TV. But another one, looking totally bummed, snatches the breakfast back. She grumbles that if Subai's not here, they're taking it away. Meanwhile, at the training grounds, Subai's going through his usual routine. That's when he overhears a military news report on a TV nearby. The reporter is delivering some absolutely shocking news from just yesterday. The 10,000 Race Beast Alliance launched massive-scale attacks. Their main target, human military bases, and they had golden-level beasts. Across the country, students from different provinces were being slaughtered. Just torn apart by these ferocious beasts, but in this brutal war. One university stood out from the rest, Jiangsu Martial University. The report praises its instructors and students for their heroic defense. They took down one golden-level beast, one silver-level beast, several bronze levels and countless regular monsters, but then came the shocker. The biggest hero of the entire battle, a first-year student named Subai. And get this, he single-handedly held off a golden-level ferocious beast, all while being completely surrounded by enemy forces. With backup from instructors, he pulled off a legendary cross-tier kill. The report concludes that every single other defensive line had fallen. Only Jiangsu Martial University managed to claim victory. As a result, the nation's military awarded second-class merit to all participants. Every last student and instructor from Jiangsu Martial University who fought. They received the Great Wall Silver Medal. Subai just stands there frozen. This all happened so fast, and the report isn't even done yet. Because of his insane military achievements, Subai was awarded first-class merit. And he received the legendary Great Wall Golden Medal, the crowd watching. They absolutely erupt. A mere freshman getting that medal is unheard of. That's an honor most people couldn't hope to earn in their lifetime. The women in the crowd are swooning, all saying they want to date him. While all the clueless students just keep asking, who even is Subai? And yeah, you and I both know he's standing right there in front of them. Realizing things are getting out of hand, Subai quickly slips away. He hides from the crowd and quietly answers his ringing phone. It's Zia screaming that he's on TV, and he just calmly says he saw it. She then tells him that their mom and dad want him to come home for a while. So they can celebrate his huge achievement, but Subai brushes it off. He tells her there's no need, then Father Lin gets on telling Subai he's received a massive honor and all the neighbors are talking about him. Mother Lin then mentions that his third uncle's little sister just called. Apparently she wants to introduce him to a girlfriend. Zia chimes back in. She tells him he really needs to come back home for a visit. Otherwise their front door might actually get kicked down, so Subai agrees. He tells them the test just ended, so he has a 2-day break to come home. Zia excitedly agrees, teasing that he's famous now, and trust me, his quiet life is over. Would be laughing in his sleep, but Subai just calmly tells him that he's hanging up. Hours later, Subai arrives back in his hometown. And let me tell you, he is immediately mobbed by an excited crowd of neighbors. They're all shouting that the hero of their town has finally returned for all to see. Subai, completely stunned, asks if they were really all waiting for him. They just swarm him, happily calling him a great hero and desperately asking if he still remembers who they are. Father Lin and the others finally push through the crowd, warmly welcoming him back home. One woman instantly invites him over, saying she made seafood dumplings just for him. He thanks her but has to politely decline, explaining he's allergic to seafood. So of course another guy immediately jumps in, telling him to come to his house. He boasts that he stewed a whole turtle and they absolutely have to drink together. Father Lin steps in, thanking everyone for being so kind, but explaining that he's already got a big meal prepared back at their house for Subai. Subai nods along, promising he'll visit all his uncles and aunts soon. Another woman quickly adds that her granddaughter is studying in the city. And that maybe, just maybe, Subai should meet her sometime. But an old man next to her immediately shoots down the idea, claiming her granddaughter just graduated and isn't worthy of Subai. Amidst all the chaos, Subai and Zia finally manage to slip away and escape into their apartment. Subai lets out a huge sigh of relief, telling Zia that if he knew this would happen, he'd have just snuck in after dark. Zia just laughs and says that wouldn't have worked for a second. The woman from before apparently had their door under surveillance, waiting for him. Father Lin proudly announces that he's personally cooking dinner tonight. Mother Lin tells Subai to go get some rest while she and his dad handle everything. She also tells Zia to come help them out. Subai just crashes onto the sofa, finally feeling like he can breathe. But just when you and I think he can finally relax, a system panel flashes to life right in front of his face, shocking him. He stares at the screen, confused. It's a notification he's never seen. A contractible creature has been detected nearby, a small kitten. Zia sees his expression and asks what's wrong, but he just asks if they got a cat. She walks over to a tiny kitten eating in the corner and asks if he means little Bai. Subai frowns, asking if they couldn't get a more high-end pet. But Zia immediately defends Bai, saying he's cute. She explains she found him on the street a few days ago and just had to bring him home. Seeing his sister loves the kitten so much, Subai is about to drop it. But then the system displays its detailed stats, and you are not going to believe what pops up. The kitten is classified as ordinary beginner, but it has a trace of the legendary white tiger sacred beast's bloodline. According to the system, its growth is infinite, and its ultimate potential is powerful enough to slay gods. Its current stats are low, but it has the sharp claws talent, which doubles its attack speed and power by 100%. Its evolution method, just eating. Subai can't believe what he's reading and makes a snap decision. He'll tame it first and figure out the rest later. With a sweet smile, he tells Zia that they need to talk. Subai wants to borrow the little beast from his sister, but you and I are about to see that's not gonna be easy. His sister Xiao immediately refuses, clutching Bai tightly and shouting no way. Subai sighs and tries a different tactic, attempting to bribe his own sister. He asks if she still wants that new laptop, but Xiao just bolts. She yells back that it's not happening, she's never giving up Bai. Not giving up, Subai chases her, offering to buy her that dress she wanted. But Xiao keeps running, screaming that there are no negotiations. All the while their mom just watches, completely baffled by the chaos. 2 days later, Subai is finally back at Marshall University, sighing in relief. But his peace is short-lived as girls behind him start whispering. They wonder if that's really Subai and what's with the cat in his bag. Some even call him a cat lover. Xiao then turns to Bai confidently. She tells him this is their big boss's school and that she's got his back. Bai, completely unimpressed, just tells Xiao that she's crowding him. As Subai walks on, he overhears more students talking about him. They can't believe the guy who won the golden medal looks so average. And they wonder why so many girls have been looking for him at the dorms. Realizing he's drawing way too much attention, Subai decides he needs a mask. But just then an announcement echoes across campus, and you'll want to hear this. He's being summoned to the principal's office. Subai stops in his tracks. What on earth could the principal possibly want with him now? A minute later, the principal is praising him, calling him a good lad. A true hero for his exceptional performance at the F-269 military base. Because of this, the school is ready to reward him. He asks what Subai wants. Subai humbly says it was all thanks to the school and the principal. But inside, he remembers a crucial fact: the principal is notoriously cheap. This means getting anything valuable out of him is going to be tough. So he tells the principal they shouldn't let the school spend too much. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. He asks for 100 golden tier beast cores. The principal absolutely explodes, shouting that even if he grinds his own bones to dust, he wouldn't have that many, and sarcastically asks if Subai wants his job too. Okay, fine, Subai counters with 100 silver tier beast cores instead. But the principal just yells back, don't even think about silver tier. He explains that with Subai's current merits, he can't get even a fraction of that. Subai pushes back, saying he doesn't even need the medal then. Just exchange that shiny golden medal for 50 silver tier beast cores. He even reminds the principal that he sacrificed a lot for the school. But the principal gets all philosophical, saying it's the duty of the strong. To protect the weak is a mission, saving those students was his job. It's a responsibility he should have just for being a powerful individual. He asks Subai if he understands, leaving our hero totally speechless. Fed up, Subai tells him to cut the nonsense and just offer the 50 cores. But the principal insists the school would never shortchange a genius like him. Then he makes his grand offer, 10 bronze tier beast cores. Subai is stunned. Trust me, we all heard that right, just 10 bronze cores. Alright, our guy is trying to negotiate for better loot. Let's see how this plays out. He counters the principal's offer, demanding 20 bronze cores instead of the iron tier ones. But the principal fires back 15 bronze cores, take it or leave it. Subai agrees. The principal is floored. He can't believe this freshman was actually haggling with him. Meanwhile, Subai's thinking the rumors were right. This old man really is stingy. The principal then turns, saying that besides the reward, there's another matter to discuss. Just one more small thing he needs to inform him about. No big deal. Subai asks what it is, and the principal replies with the real reason he called him. The school has officially picked him as the freshman representative for this year's big event. The 100 schools leg. This throws Subai for a loop and he demands an explanation.
Regulations, then download and filter again, according to the content theme we are producing. We have image files like this. I guarantee that these images are taken from YouTube's system, Google's system, and comply with Section 107, that is Google's Fair Use Content Reuse Law. I have researched and searched for all this content. Now I will make about the process that I create a video to publish on YouTube. The software, the main software we use is CapCut. In the part with CapCut software first,